Fresh off the heels, pun intended, of the Top 20 Running Back Show, we're going to talk about the zero wide receiver draft strategy. What does that mean? Well, that means you're going to take a lot of running backs. Specifically, you're going to go like running back, running back, running back. I know that scares a lot of people, but that's what it is. I like to call it the heavy running back strategy. Zero wide receiver, heavy running back, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully you listen to the Top 20 Running Back Show. If you need a quick reminder of the top 10, I had Bijan, Gibbs, Barkley, Henry, Jacobs, Irving, Williams, Chase Brown, A-Chain, and Cook. If you need to, go ahead and pause and replay that and go through it again. Or just listen to the Top 20 Running Back Show. That's your top 10 running backs. Really no change other than the news that came out today that Cook got paid. Weird. I said he was going to, and he is. So draft with confidence. He's my number 10 running back. Moving on. The basic strategy of it is you're going to load up on running backs early and you're going to wait on wide receivers. That doesn't mean you're going to pick running back like for the first 4 rounds. You might get, a top quarterback in there or even a top tight end. And we'll talk about some options there as we go through the rounds. But big picture, you're waiting on wide receiver. Why is this going to work or why it won't work? First of all, if you're a non-PPR league, this is a great strategy. Load up on running backs because the wide receivers are kind of useless. Even though their number one job is to catch the ball, they get like almost no credit in those leagues. Again, we talked about this in the Top 20 Running Back Show. If you're in a non-PPR league, leave it immediately. Go to PPR. That's where it's at. Everybody plays PPR. That's at least legitimate. Tell your commissioner I said that. Okay, another reason why you're going to do this. Everyone in your league, let's say in the first round, they all go wide receiver. Uh-oh. Well, that means you better go get some running backs, okay? Because there ain't anything left for you at wide receiver if you really wanted one. So I doubt that's going to happen. There's probably going to be a mix, but you never know. And that leads me to, the big overall picture, which is you need to be flexible. The reason why we're talking about this strategy is because you have to have it in your hip pocket just in case something crazy happens. Maybe you thought you were getting the 3rd pick overall. You walked in on draft day and your bro's like, man, I will pay you $100 if you swap draft picks with me. Well, $100, $100 sounds pretty good. All right, I'll swap with you. And now, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. You got to be flexible, man. You know what's going to happen. All right, another reason why you might do this is because, you just want to try it. Maybe you've got like 6 best ball leagues and they're all a balanced approach and you're like, Ding talked about that heavy running back thing. I'm going to give it a shot. All right, there's one option. Another reason why this could also work, there's not a whole lot of 3-down running back starters out there. Guys who touch the ball over 300 times. There's a real drop-off after you get to about the 5th or the 6th round. And that means you're going to have to reach if you're looking for another running back. So this could be the option for you. Let's talk about what it's going to look like. We'll go through round by round, give you an idea of what your team would be at, basically after 6 or 7 rounds. And then you be the judge. I'll give you some ideas of what I think is going to be good or bad. And then obviously you're the person who's going to have to make the decision in the end. What I recommend, big picture, is if you've got 2 top 10 running backs from my list or 3 in the top 15, it's probably time to move on to wide receiver or at least a quarterback or a tight end or something. It's time to stop getting running backs at that point because you already are stacked. Let's go through the rounds and see what we've got. I'm going to handle this in 3 different examples. Either you are drafting early, you're drafting mid-round, or you're drafting late. I'm not going to go through reverse snake. I'm just going to go with a standard snake. This is going to be a PPR league. So those are the assumptions going in. Let's talk about if you're drafting early. If you're drafting early, congratulations, you're getting a top 3 running back. The standard, Bijan, Gibbs, Barkley. Already, you're winning the league unless they get hurt, which hopefully they won't. And we're going to assume that nobody gets hurt, all right? So you have to wait until the end of the 2nd round. Who's going to be there? You might see Kyren Williams. You might see Chase Brown, in which case you need to grab them. And now you've got 2 top 10s. Now I said at that point, you should bail out of the strategy. Well, let's talk about it and look at what the 3rd round is going to be like. In the 3rd round, you can get a top 2 quarterback. You could get Jackson. You could get Allen. That's huge. You could get McBride as a tight end if you want. I don't really recommend it at that point, but there's a way you can do that. Or you could grab a top wide receiver like Tyreek Hill or something like that. If you continue on this path where you go running back, aka the heavy running back approach, then you're probably going to grab Breece Hall or Cook as your 3rd running back. Now, think about it. You have 3 top 15 running backs. Again, go back to what I said, bail time if you get all 3 of those, okay? That's your first 3 rounds. Now listen to this. This is what you can get in the remaining rounds. And I'm going with ADP right now, so these guys should be available. In the 4th round, remember you're picking last if you're early, you might get Sutton. That's a top 12 wide receiver from last year. And then as you come around the turn, Jamison Williams is there. He's top 22 from last year. I think he's going to push to get in the top 20. That's two potential top 20 wide receivers there in rounds 4 and 5. And then in 6 and 7, in round 6, Myers is going to be there. Hawkinson, so that could be your first tight end. And then in round 7, you could grab Hawkinson right there. So if you're early, you have a lot of potential to go running back, running back, running back. Have 3 running backs in the top 15. And then you grab 2 top 25 wide receivers, potentially, maybe even 3, and a top 5, top 8 tight end. Wow. Now, in the 3rd round, if you don't get that 3rd running back and you get a top 2 quarterback, whoa. All right. I see top 3 in your league potential easy playoff maker as long as everyone's healthy. All right, let's talk about what happens if you're drafting mid-round. And nobody really likes a mid-round. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat. I hate being in the middle. I mean, there are years when being in the middle is great as far as drafting is concerned. I'm not sure that this is one of those years, but I mean, you can make it work. You end up having to reach a lot, and there's a lot of distance in between your picks. So you have to be very, very smart on your strategy. Let's talk about what a heavy running back approach would look like if you're drafting in the middle. If you're lucky, you'll get Henry in the 1st round. Now, you know, I'm high on Henry. I think he's the number 4 running back overall. If you don't grab him here, he's going to be gone by the time the 2nd round comes up. So you either get Henry, or if you're a Janty believer or a CMC, you'll grab one of those guys. That's your 1st running back. In the 2nd round, you're going to have Jacobs, Irving, and Kyron. They're all going to be available. So again, what are we looking at? Depending on who you draft in the 1st round, you know, like I said, Henry's number 4. You could have 2 top 12, actually 2 top 10 running backs. Grab Henry and Jacobs as far as I'm concerned. So you've got 2 top 10 running backs. Boom. You're doing a great job already. Now, when you get to the 3rd round, the difference between the early drafter and you at the middle is that next or that top 15 running back is probably not going to be there. Yeah, maybe you snake Cook in the middle of the 3rd round and you get lucky, or Hall falls to you. I doubt that. But you're probably staring down the barrel of a potential top 2, top 3 quarterback, maybe a top 2 tight end, maybe a top 3 tight end. Or you're thinking, I'm probably going to bail and go for a wide receiver. And there's some decent wide receivers there in round 3. Adams is there. Harrison's there. Hill, Higgins, JSN. These are big time wide receivers. So you might, you know, this is going to really test your will if you're ready for this heavy running back approach. So let's just continue with the running back. Let's say you get Cook. Again, 3 by top 15s. Wow. Amazing. Okay. I think we're going to bail at this point. In the 4th round, you're looking at like Kittle, or if you went wide receiver in the 3rd round, Walker's going to be there in the 4th. So again, I can make this work, right? In the 5th round, it's getting kind of thin. Ted McMillan might be there. You might go quarterback in the 5th round. In the 6th round, really thin now, especially if you're going wide receiver, because all your running backs are gone, or if you already got top 3 running backs, now you're looking at like Pickens, Olave. I don't like either of those picks. And then around 7, it's really heavy running back. I mean, they're all RB2s, RB3s, you know, lower tier running backs. Not a whole lot of wide receivers to go there. So in the middle, you can see, yeah, in the first 2 rounds, you could have, you know, some really nice running backs, definitely. But in the 3rd round, it's going to test your patience there. Can you go with Cook, or are you going to bail and go with a wide receiver? That's a tough one. That's really tough to advocate for heavy running back if you're in the middle. Let's talk about if you have a late pick, 10, 11, 12. A lot of people love this because they get that double pick early on, so it kind of guarantees them 2 top guys. And if you're in a reverse snake, oh my gosh, that's even better. All right, let's talk about it. In the end of the 1st round, if people don't listen to me, then Henry's going to be there, which is awesome for you. And then you can turn around and get A-Chain right after that. So Henry and A-Chain, boom. Number 4, number 8, number 9, depending on how you see A-Chain, 2 top 10 running backs. This is fantastic. And now you've got to wait until the end of the 3rd round. This is the tough part. At the end of the 3rd round, maybe Cook is there. I doubt it. And that means you're going to have to reach in the 4th, either for Kamara, if you want to guarantee you get a 3rd running back, if you're going to stick with this heavy running back approach, or you're probably going to go get a top quarterback, or Mike Evans will be there. And Mike Evans is a great wide receiver. If you grab that guy, now in the 4th, you're really hoping that Kamara falls to you if you're sticking with this heavy running back approach, and you've got 3 top running backs. And that's pretty awesome. Remember, I have Kamara at 12, so I mean, and he has the potential to push top 10 just like he did last year because he catches so many balls. So that could be a steal. And he goes in the 4th round. So you might be able to get him there. In the 5th round, now you're really waiting. At the end of the 5th round, which is where you're drafting if you're late, there's not much there, especially if you want a running back. You're going to have to go with like Laporta, maybe get a Ridley. Now, Aaron Jones will be there if you want to grab him a little bit early. He normally goes in the 6th, but if you're looking for a 3rd running back because you decided in the 3rd and 4th to bail, that's a great pickup. Aaron Jones, I mean, he's still a top 20 running back. In the 6th, now we're looking at guys like Ridley, maybe Montgomery if you're looking to get, another running back, depending. I don't think so, unless you want to go 4 running backs in the first 6, which heavy running back kind of guys do. And that it sounds weird, but it can work. And then in the 7th, again, like we talked about, there's a lot of RB2s. So that's what the draft looks like in all of those rounds. And what are some of the big takeaways? If you're an early drafter, if you have one of the top 4 picks, you have a monster team and you'll have the ability to bail from the heavy running back approach a lot sooner than everyone else. You could be staring down the barrel of 2 top 8 running backs, and then you make that turn and you grab like the number 1 or number 2 quarterback or, a top 15 wide receiver. That's pretty huge. If you're in the middle, I'm not sure that the heavy running back approach works. Now, if you go grab Henry, like I'm saying, then, you have a top 5 running back. But when you get to the middle of that next round, you're picking like maybe those guys that could go, 3 spots either way, like an A-Chain or a Cook or someone like that. When McConkey's there, potentially get Drake London. I mean, these are huge wide receivers that could finish in the top 10, top 12. So it's really going to test you there. And then, of course, like we talked about, that 3rd round is going to be the toughest for you. So if you're in the middle, I'm not sure you can start off heavy running back and be confident that you're going to be successful. At the end of the round, if you're drafting late, I think there's real potential there. I mean, you could get Henry and A-Chain, like I said, boom, boom. Those guys are huge. If Cook is still there in the 3rd round, I would say grab him. Otherwise, you might be looking at a top 4 quarterback and then a wide receiver, or maybe even a tight end who's there. Go wide receiver, wide receiver. So you go running back, wide receiver, wide receiver. So it's really tough in the late. If you want to go heavy running back, I definitely recommend go early in the round. So if you have like one of the top 4 picks, you can go heavy running back. If you're in a reverse snake draft, if you're at the back of the 1st round, you can also go running back. And that's more of the traditional type of heavy running back approach. Either you go running back for the first 3 rounds, or you get running backs in 4 of the first 6. That's kind of the way I think about it. The old thought process of, do I go running back? Do I go wide receiver? Do I go running back, wide receiver? I need you to open up that aperture a little bit and think about the 3rd and the 4th round. There's a lot of people who only go as deep as the first 2 rounds. Think about the 3rd and then what that sets you up for in the first 7 rounds, which I think is huge. If you're in a league that allows 2 starting running backs and multiple flex players, then heavy running back is definitely something you want to look into and see if that works for you. If you're in a league that does not have any flex and only starts 1 running back, or it has a 1 running back starter and only 1 flex position, then heavy running back is not a good strategy for you. This all goes back to the original videos that we talked about last year, which is know your league, know what the rules are, figure out ways to exploit them, see how they limit the way you should draft. Again, some of the examples that I gave you are going to either steer you towards this strategy or steer you away from it. And if you play in multiple leagues and you haven't tried it before, I recommend you try it. It's always good to try new things. And that's it for this podcast. As always, give a shout out to the men and women in uniform who protect the freedoms that we hold dear. Thank you for your service and sacrifice. And thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, follow us on X, YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you can stay up to date on our latest content. And until then, remember, established dominance isn't just a catchphrase, it's a commitment. Are you ready?